All right. So I've talked in previous videos about the 2.5 things that I don't like about this car in my first 600 miles, 700 miles of owning it. And that is the sound from an exhaust perspective. The transmission is very sloppy. And today we are gonna fix both of those issues. I got a Megan Racing catback exhaust, and I got Auto Solutions SSK that we're gonna be installing today. And I cannot wait how they sound and how it feels. Let's get it. Morning. We fast forward 3 or 4 weeks and exactly 600 miles since I've gotten this car. And I wanted to give a little bit of an update because the original drive, while very short, I don't think gave a ton of realistic, negative, positive sentiment thus far in the car. Now that I've driven 600 miles, I have dailied this car, right? I use it for going to the office, bringing my girls wherever I need to go, like all of the above. This is why I got the car, and I've been driving like crazy. I want to talk through 2.5 things that I, now owning this car, I'm not a fan of, and I'm actually, you probably can't tell, can you hear that? I got something sitting in the passenger seat that I'm about to go get installed to fix one of these things. So let's talk about the 2.5 items that I don't like in this car. Thankfully, easily changed in the aftermarket. So, and I alluded to this a little bit in my initial driving impressions. The first thing, the transmission. Now, there is countless videos in the internet about DCT versus manual, DCT versus manual. Listen, I've never driven a DCT. I don't really care. I don't want a DCT. I could care less. Even if it was a brand new 911 GT3, I'm not getting a PDK. I'm getting a 6-speed. So it doesn't matter how nice it is. It doesn't matter how it feels. It doesn't matter to me. It's all about driving emotion. It's all about the characteristic of the drive, rowing through the gears, and nothing replicates that except a manual. Okay, so it's pretty black and white for me. I'm getting a manual. I don't care. Now, having said that, the manual isn't great, and I think that's where the argument sort of goes DCT to manual. The manual isn't great. There is a ton of movement, and I'll get a different angle of the video so you guys can see the before and after. But the shifter moves like crazy. In any gear, moves like crazy. In neutral, moves like crazy. It just, I don't know, I think the best way to describe it is sloppy. It's just a sloppy transmission. And listen, it's 16 years old. I am very fortunate enough to have a Shelby GT350R that has an unbelievable Tremec transmission, arguably one of the best in the market. And that thing, it is tight. It is super mechanical. You're never confused in what gear you're in. It's nice short throws. It's unbelievable. Having said that, I got Auto Solutions SSK short shifter kit. And I'm gonna make a separate video about this, talking a little bit more about my experience. But Ronald, the guy that runs it, it's unbelievable. This guy, out of everything that I've ever bought for any car, I think he adds the most value to my purchase because there's so many things that you can customize. So you have conversations. He's like, are you going to daily it? Are you going to track it? Is it a weekend car? You know, is someone else going to drive it? What's your driving experience? I mean, anything and everything, and he tailor makes it to you. And I think that is absolutely incredible. And the best part is that, you know, the short shifter kit that I bought, you know, $400. And guess what? I haven't tried it before, but from everything that I've read and everything that I've seen, it's gonna feel unbelievable, and it's gonna eliminate the issue that I have with, you know, a sloppy gear. So that's number one, the thing I don't like about this car thus far, I would say the 0.5, right? I said 2.5. I would say the 0.5 is the clutch. I have done some research, and it looks like there's a clutch spring that I can remove. It doesn't feel linear. It feels like I don't feel a ton, and it doesn't feel linear. I'm assuming it's very similar to what the Shelby had from factory, where it had like that double spring, where there was a small spring on the bottom and a big spring at the top, or vice versa. So it was like springy both bottom and top. It wasn't very linear. In the Shelby, all you have to do is replace it with one big spring, which I did, and it made it feel so much better. I'm assuming it's something similar to that. So that's another thing. I don't really like the clutch feel, and the linear feel of it is just non-existent. And the final thing, which is in the passenger seat, this car is unbelievably quiet. I mean, all you hear is induction, which is awesome, but for the first like 300 miles, definitely the first 100 miles, I literally had to look at the RPM to shift. I had no idea what RPM I was at, because you literally cannot hear anything, just a little bit of induction. But the induction only sounds loud and or good once you're above 4,000 RPM. I haven't revved this car over 5,000 RPM yet. I'm getting rod bearing, separate conversations. I'm getting that done in a couple weeks, so no worries there. But I haven't revved over 5,000 miles or 5,000 RPM. So like, it's really like, you hear nothing. You hear absolutely nothing, which is good and bad, right? Like, for a what is this, 16-year-old car, 80,000 miles, you don't hear a crack, you don't hear a rattle, you don't hear anything. So I am getting that fixed, and I got a Megan Racing catback exhaust from a local BMW guy here in Texas. A couple $100, see how it sounds. Everywhere that I read says you need to change the cats or do an X-pipe and all that, but in reality, I don't want a loud car. I just want to hear something, and I don't hear anything right now. You know, if I wanted a screaming V8, I have the Shelby. I just want something that it sounds a little bit better on startup, and has a little bit more throaty sound to it when I'm actually driving. So I just wanted to fast forward a few weeks in my initial driving impressions of this car. I absolutely love this thing. This thing has lived up to any and all expectations, and the crazy part is I haven't fixed those 2.5 things that I talked about. I will be very shortly, and I haven't even revved over 5,000 RPM yet. Wait till I can shift at 8,400 RPM. I cannot wait. But there's going to be a lot more content on the E90 M3. I appreciate you guys watching. Peace.